Welcome to Markets of Sunshine. I am going to be demonstrating how to make a basic junk journal cover using cardboard or poster board. I'm going to be using poster board and tacky glue and a sheet of muslin fabric. So just follow the steps that you see me doing. It's very simple to do. Each panel measures 6 by 8 inches. The center spine piece is 1 inch by 8 inches. And then I cut the piece of muslin accordingly. So I measured approximately 14.5 inches, and lengthwise and the height, I should have gone about 10 inches. So I went a little shorter. So you'll see that I had more room at the bottom than the top, but that was okay. It all fits, but just allow yourself at least a 10 inch by 14 inch, maybe even 15-inch piece lengthwise. Then just trim the corners on an angle. That makes it easy for when you get ready to fold and put the glue on. So then after you've brushed on the glue, I recommend brushing it, then just smooth the fabric over it. You can use any kind of fabric here. You don't have to use muslin. I like muslin because it's thin, and I'm going to be layering more on top of it, so you don't want to start off with a thick fabric. You want something thin. And then just glue the edges of the bottom pieces of your cardboard or poster board, and then fold the fabric up over that bottom edge. We don't want to glue the whole area right now. So then I go ahead and do the tops as well and reapply glue on this one side because it's going to be getting too tacky by the time I get over there. And then just brush it again and then fold the fabric up over the edges. This is really a very easy and simple, basic way to make a junk journal cover that anyone can do. So beginners, intermediate level, advanced level, this is a very easy style, and it's something that I like to do, and it's just a great way to use and recycle your cereal boxes, any pasta, any cardboard, thin cardboard boxes that you have. And you want to leave a little bit, like about a quarter of an inch space between the cover, outside cover pieces and your middle spine piece. So if you notice, you can see that little bit of a gap that you're seeing, that little bit of a space, and that just allows the cover to be able to be folded and not bow on you when you're done. So the bottom is area, you can see I have at least a half an inch in most areas. And then when I get to the top, I only have about an eighth of an inch, if a quarter of an inch at that. But it was enough. It was enough to squeeze it in there. And like I said, I will be covering this up with another layer, and then that will definitely sandwich it in. But it was really fun to see that at the end that I only allowed myself a little tiny bit left, and I was like, whoops. So I got a little stingy on the fabric there, is what I think happened. And just smooth out the glue. You don't want to have lumps. So just smooth out the glue, and I had to go over it because I was working with just such a tiny little area of fabric. I had to go over it quite a few times to get the fabric to finally stick and to lay down into place. But it finally went into submission, and it stuck to the glue, and it was sticking to the cardboard, and it was perfect. So it was like, okay, it all worked out well in the end after all. Now, if one other thing that is really good to keep in mind is you want to keep in mind that this has to dry thoroughly. So we're adding a lot of glue, and you don't want to start doing any sewing if you were going to do any stitching on this until 24 hours, at least overnight. And but I would say give it at least 24 hours, and then you can come back in, because if you see, as I keep adding now, I'm putting just as cardstock on top of the poster board, and then just that little bit of muslin that you see on this back side. And I cut it a little bit longer. I cut it like 8 1/4, so I will trim that extra piece off at the end when I'm all done. But I decided to go with a nautical theme. I've never done a nautical theme, and several of my customers love ocean beach theme. I've made a lot of cash envelopes in that theme for customers, and I'm going to be making other items in my shop in this theme. So I thought, well, let's start off with this junk journal that I'm working on. So this will be in my shop as a finished product, and then I will be coming out with some kits later on. But right now, this is just something that I'm making, and if my seagoing customers love it, then I am hoping one of them will give it a new forever home, as I like to say. But this was so colorful. I loved all the beautiful, colorful shells. And this paper pack is one I purchased from Home Shopping Network, and I will list the company in the description box below. Again, just make sure now that you want to make sure you're using enough glue. Isn't this turning out so pretty? I just love the colors here. Such a new, nice theme to work with. No flowers, you don't see any flowers, nothing vintage, nothing woodland, just very nautical, beachy. I love it. And I love all the blue shells, green shells. It's just beautiful imagination going on here. Okay, so we're going to turn it over and we're going to work on, this is the inside now, and then we're going to work on the cover, and I'll add some more beautiful ocean themed cardstock to that here in just a few minutes. So I hope you are getting your supplies out, cutting your cardboard or poster board, your fabric, getting your glue. I mean, look at how easy this is right now. Okay, the finale. Here's the paper that I chose for the inside. The spine, I decided to go ahead and use the shell theme that is going to carry over when they open it up to the inside. And I'm going to start by gluing the spine piece into place. And the two covers I did cut 8 by 6, and then the spine I did cut, it was already the 8 1/4, but I'll trim that off at the end. You'll see me do that here in a minute. So this has turned out really cool. It's so quick and easy to do. You just have to keep this method in mind. It's so super simple that I was making it complicated. So I had to go back and refresh my memory, and then I was like, oh yeah. So I mean, your piece of fabric, 10 by like 14 inches, and then the two cardstock cover pieces, 6 by 8, spine 1 by 8, and you just cut 4, so that you've got 2 for the cover, 2 for the inside, and then 2 spine pieces. It really comes together quickly. Now the hard part after this is the waiting for it to dry, because like I said, now I'm going to have to let this dry overnight before I can do anything else to this cover. So in the next video, which will be later this week, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, maybe not Friday. So I'll try to go do something else tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is make the signature pages are going to be easy. That's always a breeze. Probably what I'll wind up doing for the signatures to keep this whole nautical theme going on is I'm going to look for some digital papers on Etsy. So I'm going to go through some of the shops on Etsy. I don't really have a particular shop in mind. Most of the shops that I see that are doing videos, there's nothing that's in the nautical theme that I've seen. So I'll just go and do a search, and whatever pops out at me, then that's what I will pick out. And I believe I'm going to do 2 signatures of 5 or 6 pages each, because since I have a 1-inch spine, that is big enough that I could get 2 signatures in, and I can still sew the signatures on my sewing machine and then attach them to the spine with needle and thread. So I will do it that way. I could glue it into the spine, but I think I will sew it. I'll just have to have my husband help me because it's a little difficult for me to maneuver that once I start trying to do the spine. But oh, isn't this just, oh, it's so different. I love, 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 love it. So now I will trim off that bottom excess piece, that little tiny smidgen. It's only like 1/8 of an inch actually. Not a whole lot at all. And then the little bits of fabric that were peeking up, then I went ahead and trimmed that off. But oh wowie, it's so pretty. I just love it. It's so different. It's just completely out of my comfort zone, and I would never have done this if it wasn't for my customer request. And so she has a request for me to do a whole kit for her, so I'm going to be doing that. And then I said, well, you know what? Let me do a junk journal and the nautical theme. So I found that paper on Home Shopping Network at a great price. And so I said, we're going to make a junk journal out of this beautiful paper. The paper I might use a few pieces in the signature, but I'm not sure. That's a little thick. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at how beautiful. So the cover encompasses everything that you would expect to see at the seashore. And then the inside are what you would see on the ground, shells and in the ocean. But I just love it, and it just turned out so adorable. So you have and sea creatures. So thank you for being here with me. Stay tuned for part 2. Bye-bye.